Hello everyone and welcome to CIS-350. Last time, mainly what we did is we started working already on requirement elicitations. Today we are going to continue what we already started during last class. And so we are going to learn more about requirement elicitations as we discussed previously, okay? We will learn more about that. So what we discussed last time, actually, it was kind first of general introduction to requirements modeling, and we tried to answer a couple of questions like what do we mean by requirements, how to probably collect these requirements, and what are the different steps and so on. Okay, so what we will be discussing today is more about how to visualize these requirements and how basically to make them easy to understand, especially that we need to consider, as I told last time, the user and the customer. So we are going to take it more into account that, and we'll think about these stakeholders that are the user and the customer. So for that, we will be talking about one specific way to visualize the requirements, which is UML, okay, UML diagrams. And when we say UML, it refers to Unified Modeling Language, okay? So it's a way to just, I would say, draw diagrams and represent things in a nice, visual way, okay, to make things more clear. Okay, so for that, we are going to start by using what we call case modeling, and I'm going to explain the different concepts related to different use cases and where we are going in this we're going in this class mainly also to visualize the functional and non-functional requirements that we collected and we discussed about them last time. So last time I repeat it again, it was kind of a text description in plain language, in English, or I don't know what language you are going to use, but this time we are going to visualize them, okay? So it's mainly about your see lots of visual representations, okay? So in general, in the use case diagram, she's the first diagram that we are going to start with. So we focus with this one on more functional requirements, and we do not mention in general the non-functional requirements. So the use cases mainly the very important use cases of your system. So we consider the functional requirements. As I said, the functional requirements last time, if it's something there, then it means your system is working. As I given the example last time, I have a online teaching platform, for example. If the meeting, if it's synchronous, I mean, the meeting links are not working. This is a big problem in the mainly about the functionality. So this is a problem related to functional requirement. So it cannot be tolerated. There is a problem with your platform. However, if for example something related to the internet, so it can depend. Sometimes users might have bad connection and it's not all the time there. So it's something that it's possible that it happen, and if we will guarantee, for example, for our system that it's all the time, everything are in the best, I would say, condition and it's working perfectly. So this can only increase the, I would say, it will take your app towards perfection, okay? So these are security, for example, it's not the main that user is paying attention, okay? If it's there, finding the recording or finding the links or finding the main thing that he needs from that app, that is a requirement, a functional requirement, because the functioning of the system depends upon from this thing. If the user is not going, for example, okay, he will log into these main things, but he will probably not pay attention to security thing, to so it's, if you are for sure you are delivering, it's very good from your side. Otherwise, it's not functional requirement. Okay, so it's a non-functional requirement. In the use case diagram, we do not consider the non-functional. We focus only with the most important things, okay, that are like functional requirements. Okay, so in general, the use case diagram, we focus on these kind of requirements. This is what I want to say, and we do not mention, let's say, the non-functional requirements. This is very important for you to note and memorize this. So in this case, we'll be going to cover, mainly this is what we will cover today, and we will learn how to develop use cases, and for sure based on the functional requirements, because in this project you will see, or in this in software development lifecycle in general, we have steps. We build on the first step. So the first step is quite important. Okay, we can update it, we can come back, but that like functional requirements you have, from there you will build your use case diagrams. Okay, so that was our that is going to be our start point. Okay, so now, all right, so we as we talked about last time, the software life cycle, and this is what I was just mentioning, is having different steps. Here you can visualize them. So requirement elicitations we discussed is the first step, and then we have the analysis phase. Okay, so the analysis phase, it's the next step, and it's kind of visualizing these I would say diagrams maybe, but what is going to happen really is that it's going to move from use cases, which is kind of translation, visual translation, to what requirements you are already having. We covered last time. Then we are going to have them expressed like in terms of, I would say, for example, UML diagrams. You can have like use case, besides use case diagram, you can have the class diagram. For example, you have activity diagram. You have many diagrams that we will see so far later. Sorry, and so there are like two types of analysis in this case. Okay, so like the first step, we talk about static, and then probably we'll move and discuss dynamic like modeling. Okay, and so after that, like we talk about designing your system and detailing the design. And once we have all our diagrams, final static and dynamic diagrams that we will cover so far, so what we can do is that we can start implementing and working on code. So code comes at the end. It's not in the like very first steps. And what we will probably cover today or focus on is how are we going to generate the use case, like, or create the use case model from the like functional requirements that we have. Okay, so we will focus on use case, then next we can go to analysis phase and modeling, and then so we have the static and dynamic like diagrams. And in this case, so we will start step by step. Don't focus with what will come next. No, we are in the use case modeling. Okay, so just as a reminder, so what we discussed last time, so the main output of your first elicitation step is to try to get a list at the end of your, I would say, requirements. Okay, you're going to discuss, you're going to try to understand what are your requirements. And of course, we don't want to show the list of requirements in natural language to the user, who maybe the user, in some cases, he want to find some way to visualize things. This is what we will do for him. And we need actually to make sure that all the people, they have one way to deliver the message, because people may be speaking different languages, maybe they are in different places, maybe like people from different countries probably can have different models. So what we need to do is that to unify things, and this is from where the word unified is coming. So UML is the unified modeling language. So we are going to present things in a unified way so that everyone is, it's kind of a rule, like we will follow this rule in order to make these diagrams. So whoever having the knowledge or software engineer that you are going to show him this use case, he can read for you. And also we are making it that simple, like everyone is saying, okay, this is how it's going to be shown, so that when you will discuss it with your users, they will be also able to understand this visuals, the description. So this is what we are learning mainly today, is how to do that and how to create that diagrams, because it's a very important step. Okay, so it's, as I'm mentioning, we are going to have as output the use case diagram. This is associated with the use case descriptions. So besides the diagram, which is visual representation, there will be a description that we will learn about today. Okay, there is also because people speak different, they have different, I would say, words that they employ in their daily life. So if you talk to someone from the healthcare background, for example, and someone from computer science, probably at some points we don't use the same words. So this is why it's very important to have some dictionary in order to make things again UML, unified modeling language, and to unify things, okay? And also we will have, in addition, the non-functional requirements. I was mentioning they don't show in the use case diagram, but somehow we will note them as a final output of our elicitation step, okay? This is for the elicitation. So we are kind of learning functional requirements, non-functional requirements. We understand the need of our customer, what could be making our system better. We're translating in terms of use case diagram. We have the provide description for that use case, and then we have the data dictionary. Now for the next step, it's the analysis phase. So for the analysis phase, what you can have is the object or like model at the end. And we need to have the dynamic model. Dynamic model is that something, there are two words that you may listen all the times in the class. So something which is static, okay, which is like object model, something just is not changing over time. Like for example, the class diagram describes things that are fixed, they are, it's object model, and it's static, so there is no like considering of the t or time factor. However, if I will tell you a story or I will say something, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, we know that we cannot probably, as some sequential scenario, I say, we cannot reach about the sequence 4 until unless we finish with sequence 1, then in order the second, and then, so in this there is kind of a story. So there is like sequence diagram, something like this. We respect the time, we respect which comes first, the order. And so this is, we are modeling in a dynamic way. So this and then this and then this, and this is from where it comes, the dynamic modeling word, okay? And like we don't have only the sequence diagram for this dynamic modeling, we have the communication diagrams, we have the state machine diagrams, and we have many diagrams, but mainly this is what we will see in this class, okay? So when we talk about like system functionalities, like we discussed last time, we have functional requirements that describe what requirements we are supporting again, then how the user can interact with this requirement. So basically like which user can execute what requirements, okay? So we answer these questions for the what, the how, and mainly some things that are related to the function requirements and other things are related to the use case, okay? Okay, so for the use case diagram now and the use case description, so we know that use case is kind of visual representation, as I'm just mentioning, for the functional like requirements. And when we talk about this description, it's there, and then it's not moving like with it. I would say there is no kind of evolution. You are just representing them, and that's it. This is why they are static, and these are for the use case. And also we have basically the like description for that. So for the description, like for the use case, you have a final, I would say, visual representation, and there is no numeration. This comes first or this comes first. No, you don't have that. It's just like the final visualization, I would say, for now. For the who are the users, what are they doing, like that. We'll see this in details, okay? But when we are describing that, there is some respect. This will be happening first, probably this, if this and if that. So there are cases, there are like scenarios. So the description for the use case in this case is kind of dynamic, okay? And so we need to provide kind of coherent visual and textual description for the system. And because it's not like we're going to write, like there are rules to respect, like we were mentioning last time. And in use case driven iterative development, we need to also prioritize the use case for implementation. Okay, so later probably we can know which one are the most important. So when we talk about prioritizing, we will learn there are many like ways to learn how to prioritize. Okay, so in summary, a use case model, it has the use case diagram, which is static, and there is must be provided with that use case description, which is dynamic, and this kind of describes the product behavior. Okay, this mainly helps in conflict resolution. So if we're describing everything and everything is clear, we are avoiding any type of of conflict. So you are giving this diagram, for example, to like any stakeholder, all the stakeholders, all of them, they have that clear. So you don't need to argue or say, oh, it's not specified, it's not clear for me. No, we are clarifying everything in there. And so this is mainly for conflict resolution. And also for, we have also selection of priorities, because once we will have all the like use cases in front of us, all the actors, we can identify some primary actors, okay? And some secondary actors. So mainly the primary actors who are the main users, for them the system is designed. They are going to use the system. I can give you an example in this case. If I have an ATM, okay, and I have a customer, a bank customer, and the bank customer is going to withdraw money from the ATM. So the ATM system is designed to give money. For whom mainly? Is it designed for the ATM, or is designed for the like bank user? For sure for the bank user. So the bank user is a primary like actor, okay? And the just I would say the ATM behind, it's a secondary actor, okay? So it's mainly there, but I would say it's a secondary actor. It's not mainly for which the system is designed. Okay, so in this class, I'm going to make it, I would say, very simple, and I will not complicate things. But I can give you more details in my videos. You will find, because there is knowledge that I must deliver. Because sometimes you can check somewhere else. For example, for a use case, you can find some notations. I will talk about that later. So does not contradict with the content we are learning, but we are learning things in the simple way, I would say. Okay, so mainly an actor is an external entity that interacts with the system. Fine. And for the use case now, we represent, by the way, the actors with this like stick man. And for the use case, we need to respect this order. So by the way, I always tell to my students, it's kind of for you guys probably we will not find a problem, because for all your deliveries, you mainly are going to use some tools to draw your I would say diagrams. So there are online tools like UML. You need to download probably that locally. There is one very nice online that I used to use, which is Visual Paradigm. You can just write it in Google, Visual Paradigm online, and that will allow you also to insert like these representations. So you just insert them as they are. If, for example, you are going to for some practice, you're just using, I think, like a paper and just a pen. So you're going to write things by yourself. So in this case, you just be careful. This stickman must be respected a lot, Mr. Stickman, and must be drawn the way it is. So I always tell to my students, if, for example, in some practice, I can, oh, okay. I find some representation of the stickman like here it must be like a circle, and some students probably can do something like this, which is quite like funny, but I can have some hair for this nice like a stick man. Then they try to make the hands in this shape, probably can make like wearing dress, or because sometimes I feel there is a like creativity in my students. So we don't use that for the UML class, at least. We will use it in the design phase, in like creating your mockups and all that. There is creativity part, but this mainly is like someone will see this and say, what is this? So mainly we do not do things like this, and you must respect the notation. So a stickman is a stickman. If even you are going to deliver your homework like manually written, you must draw it this way. No way, okay? You must make it perfect as much as you can, for sure. And for the use case, it's always represented in this shape. Okay, so you have your oval, and even you have a bigger title, you make it bigger, you make it title, but it cannot be a square, it cannot be like a circle, other shape. It must be that shape, and that's it, in case you would prefer to return your like homeworks just handwritten, and you just take a picture and upload. So please try to avoid all this, like for example a square or rectangle, or so. No, okay, we just need to just respect and keep the notation, respect the notation. Okay, so sorry for this, just okay. Next, what we have what we call association. It's just a line that links uh, between the it connects, I would say, the actor to which use case he is going to participate in. So it connects the actor to the use cases. It could be many use cases in which they participate. Okay, so we will see just an example here. And okay, this is an example, sorry, of a use case. And when you are sick, I wish that my voice is not changing, but it's okay. So this is an example, as I'm mentioning, of a use case. So you can see this stickman over here. So how many stickmans you have? So you have two in this case. Two, which means that you have two actors, okay? And previously I was talking about, so let's discuss. Here, your system, this is a very important notation that you must have this, we call them mainly the boundaries of your system. So within, inside means the boundary of your system, what you find on the top left is written the system name. For example, I will ask you to create a system for online education platform that does this, and that thing. So what you do first thing, you will like think of your system boundaries, and you write the name of the system on the top, online blah 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 platform, and then you start checking who are your potential customers, which are the actors. So for the actors, I just said there are two types of actors, which are primary and secondary actor. Okay, mainly if we have something for your class, I won't like judge this too much. Just it's like I would say what we say, an actor, and that's it. For me, it's I will not like let you think primary, secondary, and all. But if you will see somewhere else, some people you can find at some point something like I would say it's like a command. It's written like this. and you find it's writing here is very difficult, but I try to do it's you find written secondary, okay, to say that it's like secondary actor, but for us we will not go for it, okay. So when you see it's without any, if you have a your use case diagram in which there is some comments in here, it shows you that this actor is secondary, this like use case is not like done by a primary actor. If you see the lines like without anything, that means this is a primary actor, okay. For you guys, we consider that, okay, this we know that it exists, but we have now a customer and a bank. These are our actors without further details, okay. Now, what are our use case? Our use case are this means the use case are the functional requirements, as we say. And functional requirements, what your system does essentially, means the non-functional we don't think about for now. So essentially, an ATM machine must withdraw money, check balance, and verify customer. Okay, so we have these 3 points now. Each one is done by some customer. This is why we connect that like stigma representing that actor to what use case he does. And then, so we have these, like this customer, for example, the customer can withdraw money and the customer can check balance. For the bank or the system, the role is to verify customer, okay? So this is how to read a use case diagram, okay? So there is behind this a story, okay. So we probably can execute, when we are executing our software, probably there are some scenarios, like for example, after the customer is entering his, I would say, login information, and we can probably have multiple actors and we will have multiple features in this case. Then the bank is going to verify the customer, and in verification it can happen, it can be yes, verified, so there will be some scenarios, and no. So all this is a description that is not included in the use case diagram. This description is the use case diagram is mainly to show you the actors, okay. This is why I don't focus on secondary. Whatever it's an actor, I want to see the actors. I want to see the system, like boundary and the system name. So what is this system, okay? And I want to see mainly the use cases, the important like things, and the connection for sure between the use cases and the different customers. Okay, so in addition to what I was just telling you, the actors, the features, or the use cases, the connections between them, we have like other, I would say, like association between the use cases and different use cases, I would say, and probably the dependencies that represent these use cases. So you're going to just understand what I'm saying right now. So associations like are used mainly in general to reduce, for example, the complexity of understanding of multiple features, because sometimes in one use case I can have a very complex task. So in this case, probably I need to use the association in order to make things more easy, like to understand. So instead of aggregating multiple features in one, you can actually split them into multiple and create like association link between them. So we can do, for example, one way is, one way is to employ the includes, which are the first class of associations. So include, I will explain this very well later. And also, if you don't understand this sort of, just to let you know, this is a very important, and this is the basic now for use case diagram. So include and extends. Let's talk about the general concept, okay? And so the first type of association, which is the include, I would say. So I have one use case includes another use case, which means before executing one feature, okay? So the first, it includes, which means it's a must that you already run another feature, okay? So like this, like for example, before I can withdraw money, I have to, it's an obligation, it's a must. So I have to enter a correct password. So if we consider the use case withdraw money, it's connected with an include. It includes another step. It's another, I would say, use case, which is verify or correct, like enter password with condition. It must be correct, okay? So we will see this how to like explain later. But if I don't enter password, I cannot withdraw money. So there is a link and connection. So this is for the first time, okay? Withdrawing money includes actually like to enter correct password. This must be your example. Whenever you're having a problem, you have two use cases. You know, there is this like relationship between them. You are not sure if it's include or extend. Think like this. Remember the example of withdrawing money. If it's a must to like that I put my password correct, and it's valid, correct password, then it includes. This is the example. Now, the second case, or the second type, when we talk about extend in this case, so this is another type of association, and extend is kind of it's an equivalent to a general link, or let's say an abstraction link for those who know already oriented design, for example. I know some students maybe took this class. If not, just don't think of it. So, for example, I can execute one feature, but they can do it in different ways, in multiple ways. So for that I can have an extent, okay, or something. It like could be an exception. So I can see most of the time, most of the extents would be represent kind of an exception. Means when you enter, for example, a password, and this may extend exception, which is you entered the wrong password, okay? So extents for use case diagrams, they are in general used to show that there is an error that can happen, probably, okay? It's not sure that it will happen, but in case it's possible to happen, okay? So for me, modeling this relationship of extending, so it's not like includes. Includes, it's a must, it must happen. Extend, it means, okay, the user is like like I'd say logging into his account. Okay, this is the use case. This use case can, in some few cases, but it's not mandatory, not like the include, he must include, he must have a correct password. In some like use cases, it can happen that a wrong password is entered, okay? So there is an error, there is a problem. So if this problem occurs, we can just show it as an extend, but it's optional. It's not like obligatory that everyone is going to go through this I would say exception, okay? So this is mainly for extend and include. I can illustrate with more examples. So here, like there is the example of a function in the original problem statement, which is mainly too complex. If I tell you someone, okay, or we'll not take care now about the um, actor, we will focus on this, okay, which is part of the system. So the main like use case here is to manage incident. And this is very like abstract. It's kind of very complex. And if I will see, probably I will not understand. So further details are needed. These details probably is mainly designed to describe the function as, like, for example, the aggregation of the set of more simple like functions, okay? So this is what we'll do. And so the association use case is decomposed into shorter use cases. And like what we'll find from this use case, there are other use cases. So the first one probably is create incident. So if you are in the context, I would say, of managing incident, it includes, means obligatory, that you are creating incident. It can also include something else. It's a possible scenario. If you are handling incident, you must be probably handling this incident. So management also includes to close an incident. So if you enter to this more general use case, it means you obligatory are going to go through at least one of the include like use cases. So I cannot say manage incident and that's it. Manage incident means whether you are creating, whether you are handling, or you are closing. So whenever like the actor is managing, it means he's going in one of these three directions. Okay, so it's a must for him. He cannot stop in manage incident and that's it. No, we go further for the like details. Okay, and these are the other like detailed, I would say, use cases. So include, it's a must to go through this. Okay, so here is another example probably of include, when sometimes you may have some overlap between multiple features. So you can actually have them linked like with an include. Like here we have the role, like the actor, and our actor is mainly like able to do two things. He can open incident and he can also allocate resources. Okay, these are the main, I would say, use cases. But the if he open incident, obligatory he view the map. He cannot like do it without, I would say, viewing the map. Viewing the map is a must, and it's actually also used in this case by two, I would say, features. So if he allocate the resources, he must also view the map. So we can find this common point, and it's not a problem. But the most important is that include something. It means like for both of these two cases, for example, they must go through view the map use case. Okay, sometimes it could even be done by creating dependencies between multiple use cases, and so this we will see in, I would say, more complex like cases. But for now, let's just consider that it's not like always you have in the previous example, you have less like includes from only one like use cases, including multiple. It can happen the opposite, that you have probably multiple use cases, and these multiple or different use cases, they include the same use case. So it happened in all cases. We read it like this. If I'm entering here, means I go straight in here. And it's a very important thing also to enter to just highlight that the include must be with the hashed line, which means like we must have the hatched line. It's not the like this one. It's a like continuous. No, we don't do that with include. And extend is hatched line. So for include, because you are here, you close your eyes, you follow the arrow and go with it. You will obligatory go. This is an obligation. So the I would say the direction of this like arrow is going from this case to the case that it includes. Okay, so this is how to read this. Okay, I'm highlighting the this only because we will distinguish a different representation for the extent. So include, it goes from here to here. The extent is the opposite direction. Okay, and it usually creates a confusion for my students. I want to clarify this from the start, so you pay attention to that direction while learning. Okay, so now we're going to learn about extend. Okay, and extend, which is a general, as I said, represents some exceptions. It could be some possible errors, but it's not mandatory that you will have them all the time. It could be something in general optional, so the user can do it, and it's like and it cannot be done. Okay, so for example, here I can give you this example. We have this actor and report emergency. Okay, at the top of one use case here, you can report like while reporting, for example, emergency, you can, it's possible to actually ask for help. So ask for help is something which is optional. It's not mandatory. It's not like obligatory, like we said last time. If this is something obligatory, we do the opposite, okay, direction for the arrow. So this means include, you must go for it. Now, no, it's not the case. So the extent, you must see the direction of the arrow. It's coming inside. So it's going towards the use case. And this shows, I always teach to my students, so it's something like this. Okay, you imagine reading your diagram. How you will read this? So you will read that this is like report emergency, okay? And for reporting emergency, I can, if it's an include, go with it. So I must go, I must follow always the arrow because it's a must, it includes. But for the extent, which is not a must, I see this is the representation of my arrow. So I see that the arrow is coming in, so it's kind of stopping me. It's not always I can follow it. I can sometimes stop it. So it's not that I will follow the direction. The direction, it's the opposite to the include, so it can stop me at some points. So I can break this and go to the like ask help in some particular cases, which means not all the cases, okay? So this is the difference. You have probably, I will just try to summarize here, probably. Include, you have some cases, and it includes another case. So for the include means if I'm reading this case, includes, I always write like this, like stereotype, include. Oh, writing for me in this case, it's much more easy to teach in person, believe me. Include, yep. I'm doing it. So consider that this is an include. It looks like, but it's not actually. So include is something like this. So I'm from here, no arrow here, like sign is stopping. I go, I must go. It's not an option. I follow this direction. Okay, this is what I'm explaining. And I go here. So this one, if I'm entering, I must go to this one. If there are many, so I must go to at least one of the like includes. In the other case, I have some use case, that extends something, which means it's optional, probably, to go there. This is why what I'm explaining, the arrow here, you understand that you always see from the inside. So here, what you see is something is, this is like an eye, seeing something. Here it's stopping me. So I can go, but also I cannot go. So this extend, here we write just extend. Oh, extend. Okay, so this extend relationship is can stop and I can break and go. So it's optional. But for this include, and I see from here, from my use case, so it's not like it's exactly, I go straight. So it's mandatory. I must go there. So it's a must. So it's obligation in the include. This is the difference, and this is what I want you to learn today. If you have a piece of paper and pen, if you will take one note today, I want you to write include from first like use case, tuk, 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 I go, I follow the arrow, and it's a must. And if it's an extend, so I have the arrow is in the opposite direction than the include, and I need to stop somehow, and I cannot see anywhere else. So stop there, stop. If some exceptions, like I was talking in object-oriented case, like for those who took this class, exception is not always happening. So if I will catch, then I can go to that use case, okay? So if you don't understand, just reach out. But I did my best to explain it. I think it's clear. Okay, so include, it's like in general, it's used to enhance or reuse ability in general. And so instead of having redundant functionalities, you can actually have one big functionality that you can decompose into multiple functionalities, okay? And I can, like, for example, give you here a trick I always tell to my students. So I will describe for you some use case. I'm feeling so sick today. I'm so sorry. But okay. So I will describe the system. Let's suppose that I have a system, and this system is there is only one user, so we're not focused with the roles and users and so on. So we have one stick pen. Oh, it looks nice. I want to close his head. Okay, so this user can, I would say, possible like things that he can do. He can do use case 1, he can do use case 2, he can do use case 3, and for example, use case 1 is imagine like you are in Facebook, okay, or social media. You are going. A user can, like for example, add friend. Okay, so I cannot write it, but I will say he can add a friend. He can remove a friend. Probably he can block like some friend. So these are three possible use cases of like this system of describing. Okay, just we will focus with the friendship. So request, whether send request or accept request or block someone, for example. So is there a user who can do one of these things without like logging in correctly? Okay, so logging in is actually some use case which is a must. To add a friend, you need to follow this, okay? So it's a must. So we go from here to here, and this is an include. So you must log in correctly, okay? Oh my God, it's very difficult to write here. But let's say it again. Then it must be written here include. I'm sure you guys are getting it. Include the row, include. It's never include, but it's include, okay? Take it easy. So from this case, for example, to delete a friend, is there someone who can delete a friend who is not already connected to his account? So this includes the login. So login is one, so we don't need to make it for each use case that requires login. We make separate login. So you will see many, all use case include separate logins. No, we make one login, and all of them, they are having this arrows towards login. So it's an include relationship. Okay, so this is what I mean by that. We use it sometimes like to uh, reduce the or to reuse some functionality. So this is a functionality. We can use it for adding a friend. We can reuse it for deleting a friend. We can reuse it for blocking someone and so on. Okay, so mainly this is the concept. Now, like for extend, it's kind in general used, like you can use it to add someone, which means to add some optional functionalities, which, like I was saying, it's not mandatory. You can stop with this case and do not go further. But in some cases, you can break that wall, I would say, and you go further. So when you enter the password, you can have, for example, the wrong password, okay? You can have, like, you're just not executing the feature of a wrong password, like I'm mentioning. For example, the password, for example, you are entering, it can be correct. For example, the password you are entering, it can be incorrect, but it's not mandatory, okay? So this is the way to present the extents, which is mainly something that is exceptional, that is not obligatory. So it can happen and it cannot happen, and it's unusual. It happens like it can happen, let's say, okay? So here is more examples for you. So where we can use include and extend, the main focus you can see here. So I have a member and have university account system, and I have the CIS email system, okay? And what we have the main the use cases. So this one is like the member can loan some material and the member can return some material. So there is no relationship between loaning and returning, okay? Now when we think about loan material, so is anyone or anyone, does anyone, let's say, is anyone able to loan some materials? The answer is not everyone. And to loan a material, there is a very strict condition. There is a condition is that you must be a member and you have, for example, a valid membership. And so someone else here, for example, university account systems, is going to do this like use case. And so this use case is mandatory. It's a must for you for loan material. If someone is loaning material, it means like with closed eyes, you just consider that he is verified. Otherwise, it's not possible, okay? So this is obligatory. This is the relationship. And so this we can read. A member can loan a material, and this includes like he's being verified, and so the relationship here is obligatory, and so this is connected to the university account system. Is the one who handles the verification. Okay, so now let's consider another use case. We have the CIS email system. Okay, and it's, for example, its use case, like one particular possibility is to send overdue notice. So, and if we send overdue notes, means there is an overdue, it's possible at some positions or some cases, I would say, but it's not mandatory that all the time that we will go, extends here to handle network issue. Sometimes means there are some network issues. When we are dealing with this use case, we can go like for handling the network issues. But most of the cases, I would say, in the normal scenarios, we don't need that. It's not always there. This is the difference. So load material, it's a must to verify the member, but send overdue notice, it can happen. It's possible at some use like scenarios to handle network issues if there are any network issues. Okay, so this is the difference, and I wish that it's clear for you guys. I do my best in explaining. So here are some other examples of use case diagrams where you can probably have multiple actors. You have the member, you have the university account system, and so member login that I was before describing as something must for all this could be seen as something done by the university account system. Okay, so he is the one who handle all the login. Okay, and for the member, he login, he can search, he can loan material, he can return material. Okay, and probably he search loan, or one of them probably loan material only must be if he is logging. So this can be an include relationship. Okay, but here we're just showing different like examples. So what we have, so for each of these use cases, we need actually to do a description. Okay, so for the description, so, and this is why you see I can describe things in a different way. Okay, so we need to have a unified description at the end. So for the description of the use case, you have a specific format. We have some rules. We need to follow that rules. You need to first specify like who are the participating actors. Okay, you need to specify your initiating actor. Okay, and then, for example, you need to specify your preconditions to execute the use case. Okay, and then, for example, you need to check what are your post conditions also, and these post conditions to execute the use case. And finally, that you answer the question probably, what are the flow of the advance? So basically, what are the sequence of the activities for specific scenarios, which means which is going to happen first, which is next, and so on. So first, for example, how actor triggers the use case, then how system responds, and so on. Okay, so here is just an example of the withdraw money system. Okay, using ATM. In this case, so what we have is we have the participating actor could be the bank customer, okay? And it's the main one who's going to execute or initiate, like I was mentioning. And I have the conditions, the entry conditions. These are the preconditions. Like, for example, the bank customer that I need to have, if I am a bank customer, probably I need to have an account. And also probably bank customer also must have an ATM card and a PIN, okay? So after this, we have the last point is the exit condition. And so the exit condition is that if it's happening, then it's done. So bank customer receives the requested cash, or it can happen that it's not working like expected, and the bank customer receives probably an explanation why for it's not working. Why, for example, the cash could be dispensed. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Then there is another example here. Sorry. In this example, it could show like the flow of activities. Like you see, for example, we are going to present the interaction between which are our two actors in this case. You will find them written here on the top. Okay, it's like a table. It depends how many actors do you have. So the first actor is the do we present, for example, actor one steps and with the system steps. Okay, so for example, the bank customer inputs the card in the ATM. This is the first step. Next, now who is going to do the second step? You will see it in this side of the system steps, means the system will do. You see in the actor steps, then the actor will do. So here the ATM requests the input for 6-digit PIN, which means he will execute this use case. And after that, the bank customer inputs the card. So once the bank system now requesting the input 6-digit PIN, what will happen next? So we always consider first, then, next. We have the bank customers enter the PIN. So it comes in the actor side, okay? In this, you do not please write the, what we say? 1 second. Okay. You do not write the bank customer enters something done like by bank customer or by actor in the system side. And do not do also the opposite. Whoever does that like thing you just mentioned in like his side. So after this, it's in order. And you see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay. The ATM verifies the card with bank. Next, the bank customer enters an amount, how much he wants or he's planning to withdraw. Now, there is possible scenario. If the card is verified, the ATM requests the amount to withdraw, and then the ATM verifies the amount is available even for the customer to withdraw. You can, for example, enter some amount, okay, and you don't have enough like in your account. So in this case, we must have this double verification. First, of the account, and second, if the money is enough or not to withdraw. And also at the end, so the ATM outputs the money and card and a receipt at the end of the interaction. So the bank customer removes his card and card receipt and money. So this is a scenario where everything is perfect and working in the right and expected way. Okay, so this is how it looks like describing the steps. Okay, and these steps are mainly, they are from the use cases. Okay, it's a further details description of the use case. Okay, fine. So now what we have. So this example, it can explain a little bit more about with example, of course, registration system. Okay, so you have in red here, so some actors, and so you have registrar, you have students, billing system, professors, logon validation. So these are mainly your actors. Okay, and otherwise, so you have a list of features or I would say, yes, features. Like, for example, the first one, registrar sets up the course curriculum for the semester. Okay, then for students select 4 primary courses and 2 alternate courses. And once a student registers courses for a semester, the billing system is notified, so the student may be billed for the semester. Students may use the system to add, drop courses for a period of time after registration. Then we have that professors use the system to find their course schedule, and users of the registration system are assigned passwords which are used at logon validation. Okay, so these are mainly, as I'm mentioning, it's like the main features of the list of features that we have. And so from this, we can probably guess who are our actors, okay? And mainly from this, we can extract the use cases, okay? So this is what we will find in this slide. This is the example of one use case diagram. So we have actors that are identified, and we have use case diagram that are created, I would say, and we can visualize the relationship between them, like included in this example. Fine. So you can see all the actors: professor, registrar, billing system, student. Okay, so the student, for example, he can select a course. So this was described in words, and we were reading this from the previous points. So the student is selecting a course, and that's why we have the include logon. Okay, and so this include logon is the same thing also for the professor who requests a course schedule, mainly for to maintain the curriculum by the registrar. And also, so this is a step, let's say, like the example of login I was giving to you in the start. This is one use case that all other use cases, they include this use case. Okay, sorry about this, problem. Just noticing now that the include must be this way, and it must be, I will fix in the slides that I will share. Okay, so it must be hashed like line I was mentioning, and we must for sure highlight the exact direction of the arrows. Okay, so like this in red, it's exactly like that. Okay, so this is mainly it. We have the billing system as another I would say actor. It has manage billing of students as a use case. Okay, so this is just an example. Fine. Now this is a description of the use case that we can have, because we said you need to have a description of the use case, right? So you need to specify who are the actors, what are the contributions, what are the post conditions. So what are the scenarios, let's say. Like here, for example, we can just go through these flow of event. The first step I would say is this use case begin when the register logs onto registration system and enters his or her password. The system verifies that the password is valid. Now, step 2 is the system prompts the registrar to select the current semester or a future semester. The registrar enters the described semester, and so on. So in this one, you find details like, for example, the system prompts the registrar to select the desired activity, add, delete, review, and quit. Like all this, you probably cannot see in the use case diagram, but this is kind of a detailed description. And so the use case is a specification of interaction between product and actor in a use case. So in this now what we have is a kind of a dynamic behavior, how it works, like detailed description, and it's written in the English language in this case. So this is one of the very important things. Okay, so here is a description of a potential like relationship, I would say, as we have the include and the in which like we have the include and the extend. And here, as I'm mentioning, the include and the extend, by the way, they are extremely important to understand. We understood how to visually represent them in the diagram. We understood that like arrows, hashed arrows like direction. Now, how to translate if we have them as like we want to write a description out of them. So each use case like is iteratively refined through discussion with the client. This is we are like understanding that the process, not there is no final step. Okay, more detail is could be added to each until they all agree that for example this is complete and correct. So include relationships presents common functionality needed in more than one use case. So we can write like that. Extends relationships, more model exceptional or optional cases. Use cases representing exceptional flows can extend to more than one use case. So this is kind of summary and it's kind of, I would say, a description, use case description for the include and the extend. Okay. Now and then, so you can basically summarize things now. Let's summarize the whole process of how we can gather these features and so on. So the first step is we study the client's initial specification. And the second step is like we generate a kind of initial use case diagram and description. So mainly this is what you do in your first step of the project. You're going to draft, I would say, a use case. And so when you draft, it means it's not the final version. So you don't need to, okay, work hard on it, but don't take that much time because you make sure that just in the next step you are going to just kind of refine and change, make some changes, but at least main actors are there, main like use cases are there. And so you also must have your descriptions, data dictionaries, like also the list of uncertainties, like ambiguities, if any problems, the functional, non-functional requirements, and all this. So this is the second step. Third step is that you're going to work hard with your client on review requirements. And we mentioned last time that this can happen through probably in-person meetings. We are going like to have some like product strategy probably or some prototypes and so on to show him. We listen from his feedback and then we go back and make some changes. So in this case, we keep refining the use case diagram and the description, data dictionary, all like the collected like data above. So we keep collecting this, including the functional and non-functional requirements in a loop. So only like this is, we will not have the final result, sorry, from the analysis requirements only until we are done with this loop. So the time actually it's mainly here when we keep like making the changes. Okay, so this is just a summary as per now the project works. So first we have the first step. So the first step in this process, you just to kind of link of previous lecture, let me say. So first of all, you need to review the specification with the customer. Okay, so there is a standard way to specify these requirements. That's what we discussed last time. You need to make sure that you are using short sentences, for example. We can identify the actors, we can identify the main use cases, we can basically visualize them, we can generate the data dictionary. So this is probably what we can do this week. And finally, we specify the list of questions or if there are any like uncertainties. Okay, so we make sure that this first step is done. Then we can be able to move to the next step. And next step, will be about having a meeting in order to discuss all these like documents and working through all initial requirements on the data like dictionary, and also probably having an agreement and discussion like if there is any like upfront issues. Fine. So this is very important because this is going to impact your budget estimation, and this is also even can impact many things because it's very important to get these these requirements in the right way. So it's very important to get the right requirements, let me say. So you can implement the right software for your customer only if you are having the right requirements, and this highlights the importance of this step. Okay, so we will keep repeating these like steps 1 and 2. Okay, and then we will define, I mean, this process, all the possible uncertainties, like I mentioned. If there is, like, for example, any missing requirements, you need to make sure. So it's very important to provide a prototype as well. This prototype, it's like kind of like an interface that represents the potential functionalities of the expected software. And you try to minimize the number of meetings to make them actually productive with your customer. Okay, this is how mainly it works. The best way to summarize all this information is basically to use this template. So what you have in this template, actually, it's like kind of a table. You see like the use case description template, and it has like use case ID, use case name created by here. You can mention your group like name, and make sure that you are choosing nice and attractive group names. It's not nice actually to have group 1, group 2, group 3 all the time. So like examples like mindful engineering, or it's very nice names. So try to make things, I would say, with love, with creativity. If you are creating your card as well, try to make it nice. So try to make nice a good work, because that would be appreciated and will be graded for sure. So now for the exam and practice, you must know how to draw your use case diagram, and you specify the use cases who are your actors, for example, like the actors, they interact with the use case. Like you choose if you have to use any like dependencies or extend or whatever. So also what is the precondition is very important. What is the post condition? What is the sequence of the main activities to run all these features? Okay, so mainly this is a summary, probably an introduction to the project, and everything happens on the right time. So just trust the process, and this is how it will work. Okay, so in the next video you will find detailed description about the project and how it will work. Mainly, if you don't need anything, I'm always available. Ask me and I am there to answer your questions. So thank you so much for watching.